Hello everyone, welcome to my first ever stitch with me for my channel Stitches with Charlie Feathers. I thought we'd give this a go today because it wasn't that long ago that me and my husband had our wedding anniversary, and we were really kindly given some money to celebrate from Chris's mum and dad. So we decided to buy an overhead attachment for our desks and a new camera, so I'm really hoping that this records well and you can see a bit better how I stitch. I'm hoping that I'll be able to do these as well as my outdoor floss tubes every so often. So my husband is a Warhammer fanatic, and he streams his painting of his little mini men. So yeah, it's good that he is now able to stream his painting, and it will be good if I can do these stitch with me's. So as many of you will know from the last floss tube that I did out in the woods, that I became a model stitcher for my lovely friend Yasmin made with love, and last night I just completed my first ever model stitch for her, which was the Owl Quaker sampler, and it was just such a joy to work on, and I'm a bit sad that it's finished, to be honest, but she's keeping me busy with some other designs. I'm about 50% through the next one, and then I've got another one planned for after that. I'm just waiting for Yas to send me the fabric for the last one, but I've got plenty to crack on with in the meantime. So I was thinking about what I could work on for the next couple of days, because I've done quite intensive stitching over the last couple of weeks, and I thought, what whip could I pull out that I haven't worked on for absolutely ages and see if I can make some progress on it. So I dug this one out, which is Dear Dreams, and it's a design by Barbara Anna Designs, and this is my third oldest whip. So I think I started this one in January this year, so it's only 6 months old, but I feel like it's a bit of a monkey on my back. Like, I do want to get this one finished and up on the wall, because I see this one as a bit of a companion piece to Winged Dreams, which I've already got up on my Barbara Anna wall, so it would be nice to have them displayed together, and I'm planning on putting this one in a white frame to match. And this is the second Barbara Anna that I've worked on that uses the DMC colour variations, which are quite interesting flosses in their own right. I think this design uses, I think it's 3 different ones. So we've got this one that I'm using now, which is colour variations 4130, which, as you can see, is like a orangey red. It uses colour variations 4030, which is a bluey teal, and then I think it uses one other one, yeah, this one, colour variations 4090, which is like an orangey lemon, I would say. So yeah, 3 colour variations, which is quite interesting for a Barbara Anna pattern. And I think it was Winged Dreams that had the colour variations in before. Even in the last 6 months since I've been stitching on this, that my knowledge and experience of stitching has leaped forward again, which is really nice to see, because I think when I first started this, I wasn't quite sure how to use variegated or hand-dyed flosses. I just didn't really quite understand it, and I was just kind of fumbling about, you know, working it out for myself. And it was only through talking to Yaz and Kim, Stitchy Squirrels, that I realised what I should be doing. So to get the most out of this floss. So I now know that with hand dyed and variegated flosses, I should be stitching, you know, stitch by stitch, and not railroading my thread, which is what I was doing before. So I wasn't getting the most variation out of the floss. But you know, stitching is a lifelong hobby, and what was I saying? Stitching is a lifelong hobby, and it's okay that we're always learning, you know. As adults, we're always learning. I learn something new nearly every day from my daughters. They are always telling me things. Well, Evie, my oldest daughter, is always telling me things, you know, about animals and about English language and, yeah, all kinds of things. Like, it's nice that if we're open to learning, then it's there for us. So yeah, I've shared recently in my Flosstubes about how much the backs of my work has really progressed in the last, I would say, 6 to 8 months. Like, I look at pieces before that and the backs are so messy, and I just wasn't managing my floss very well at the back of my work, and I was carrying floss further than I needed to. And I think what it is that I didn't understand the loop method. I didn't understand the I'm just going to put this strap out of the way. It's bugging me a bit. There we go. The strap from the camera was hanging down. I think that's what I was kept catching my hand on. What was I saying? Yeah, I didn't understand the pin stitch. I didn't understand the loop method, and as a result, I was carrying my floss quite far on the back of my work, and using floss unnecessarily, so my back would be messy, and I wasn't making the most out of my variegated and hand dyed flosses as a result. So yeah, it's nice to see some progression in stitching, and I'm sure that you see that as well. So since I started this piece 6 months ago, I can tell I've made progress, and that's really nice. So since I've been model stitching for Yasmin, which I'm really enjoying, but obviously it's taking time away from my personal stitching, and I've been kind of brainstorming about ways that I can, you know, carry on with my personal stitching goals, as well as achieving what I want to with the model stitching for Yaz and meeting my deadlines with her. So I've been thinking about how I might start having a focus piece. So at the moment I'm thinking that could be this piece, and that I work on it until it's completed, and that maybe I would put in just one thread a day before I start my model stitching for the evening, because I mainly do the bulk of my stitching in the evening. So yeah, I thought that may be a good thing to do. Or the other thing I thought about is I could set a timer for 20 minutes or for half an hour, and give that a try and see how that goes. And then once I've, you know, worked on that focus piece to completion alongside the model stitches that I'm working on, then I would feel like I'm moving forward a bit with some of my whips. So my oldest whip that I have, I think, is coming up to a year and a half, 2 years old, which is been going through a phase of wanting to start lots of new things, and I have done, and I've had quite a lot of finishes. Like in the last week and a half I've had 4 finishes, which is great, but I also have lots of old whips that I don't see any progression. They're just languishing in the whip basket, and I do want to feel like I'm touching them. So I think the focus piece and the timer for 20 minutes or half an hour a day before I start my model stitching, or just putting a thread in a day, would make me feel a lot more positive about them. So I think that's what I might do. So yeah, Feline Cats is my oldest whip. The next one after that is Miss Coffee, which I started for Yaz's birthday last October, so that's not too old. And then this one is my 3rd oldest, and this was from January this year, so you know, it's not too bad. And I've kind of got myself into a rhythm of model stitching Monday to Friday. If I can stitch in the day, then great. If not, because of childcare or other responsibilities, then I'll just stitch in the evening as soon as the girls are asleep. And then I've been taking Saturday and Sunday, or Sunday, Monday, like a couple of days just for personal stitching, because as I said, I do want to feel like I'm making progress on my projects. But yeah, isn't Dear Dreams just absolutely stunning? She's so gorgeous. So yeah, I'd love to know how you are and how your stitching is going. If you'd like to send me a comment down below and tell me what you stitched on with alongside me today, or tell me what you're up to this week. So I've actually got a really busy week this week, which is not like me at all. Like, I do try and space things out week to week. So tomorrow I've got the dentist. The whole family are going. Tuesday I think I'm meeting a friend for a coffee, and then in the afternoon I've got a meeting at school about my daughter moving up from kindergarten to year 1 in September. So hopefully we're going to find out who her teacher's going to be. And yeah, she's had the same teacher ever since she started at the Steiner school almost 2 years ago. And then when they move into year 1, between the ages of 6 and 7 normally, and they start some more formal learning, although it's more gentle in its nature, around the seasons and through poems and art, and yeah, it's all very, very gentle learning, and music. But it's usual for them to have the same teacher from when they go into class 1 around 6 or 7 years old, right up until they leave at 14, unless the teacher has to leave for some reason, but they will move up with the same teacher year by year. So it's really exciting that hopefully we'll find out who the teacher is, and yeah, we can start making more plans and getting her prepared for that in September. Oh yes, Wednesday, I was looking through my book the other day. I'll show it to you, because it's on my desk here. This is the Almanac, a seasonal guide to 2023 by Leah Leenders, I think it is. And it's really amazing, nature-based book. But I read I read every month if I can keep up with it. And I was saying to hubby the other night, because I wanted to find out what the really bright star was in the sky at the moment that's quite close to the moon. I think I read it's, let me just double check actually, because it's either Venus or Jupiter, I think. Yeah, Venus. But Jupiter is going to be becoming more visible as a morning star, that's what I was getting confused. But the one at night at the moment, quite close to the moon here, is Venus. And I also noticed that there's going to be a meteor shower. It's going to be at its peak Wednesday night. So me and hubby talked about getting the kids ready for bed, and maybe we would drive down to the Lizard Peninsula and go to an area where it's got dark sky status and see if we can catch the meteor shower with the kids there. And if they fall asleep in the car, then you know, we can still be outside the car. We'll be close enough to them that you know, we can keep an eye on them but still see the meteor shower. But they might be too excited and watch it with us as well, and then they might fall asleep on the way home, because it's quite far for us from here. I would say it's probably about an hour, because it's quite twisty, the roads to get onto the Lizard Peninsula from here. So we're on the north coast of Cornwall and the Lizard is on the south. So yeah, we have to drive all the way over to Helston and then get onto the lizard route from there, past the big Navy base that's in Helston. But we went there recently for our wedding anniversary. My good friend came over and looked after the girls, and yeah, me and hubby went down to the Lizard Peninsula and watched the stars. It was really, really special. So yeah, we're thinking about doing that Wednesday night. That would be really nice. And Friday night I'm going out with a friend for her birthday. I've booked us tickets to go to a cacao ceremony with a sound medicine element to it. So Rick, the guy who is running it, I've been to one of his events before. For my birthday back in January I went with the same friend. She bought me a ticket, and it's at this really isolated place near Falmouth, and he's a flute maker. He's a very interesting guy actually. He finds lots of forage trees and he makes his own flutes, and then he makes his own melodies, is that the right word? And he puts them out into the universe as prayers. But he's also an amazing storyteller. I think we're done here with the red and orange variegated. So because I'll go back to my story in a minute, but the reason I part the threads when I'm finished with them is because I'm on this Nerge table stand, which I got quite recently, and it's easy enough to flip it up and down, but I tend to just park a lot of my threads that I want to finish, and then when I take the hoop out or flip it, then I'll just finish them all off in one go. I just find it a bit quicker, so that's the reason behind that, in case you were wondering why. Let's just get my next floss ready, and then so yeah, I was talking about Rick, wasn't I? So I went to his event back in January for my birthday, as I was saying, and that was just a flute night. So he was playing his flute, improvising these prayers that he calls them out into the universe, and in between those he was telling stories about his life. He's quite an amazing guy. He's travelled all around the world making and playing his flutes, and he's originally, I think, from America, and his parents live on the outskirts of New York in the forest there. And he was telling this amazing story about this tree, cedar tree, that had fallen 40 years previously. And it was right on the edge of his parents' land that's there. And he'd gone out and collected this wood with his dad, and he made this amazing cedar flute which he had with him that night, and he passed it round, and the smell of the flute from the cedar tree was absolutely incredible. Still a strong scent, you know, 40 years later after the tree has died. I'm not quite sure how long ago he made the flute from the tree, but it's so aromatic, that wood. It was absolutely incredible, and the sound that the flute made was just beautiful. And yeah, he was telling us about how there's bears there in those woods, and that one time he stumbled upon them and the bear had cubs with it, you know, and it was autumn and there was all these leaves on the ground where they'd fallen off the trees, as it does in autumn. But yet the bear made absolutely no sound for such a large creature, and he just stood at a distance and watched the bear with its cubs. And what a magical experience it was, that, you know, this huge bear that was so gentle on the earth that it made no sound, you know, amongst all these leaves. And it was a good reminder to him that, you know, we must always try and tread gently on this earth. And I thought that was such a beautiful story. It's really stuck with me actually the last 6 months. So yeah, that was a really beautiful evening. I think it was 2 or 3 hours long, and we just sat on the floor in a little nest and listened to him tell these stories and play these prayers on his flutes. And he has several flutes. And then I've been to another event where Rick was playing his flute, but this was an event about the night sky with a lady, I think she's called Carolyn or Caroline, I can't remember her last name. If you want to know after I tell you a bit more, then just send me a message and I'll try and find out through Facebook if I can get back on the event on there. But Carolyn is an astroarchaeologist, I think that's her title, and she studies a lot of the ancient standing stones that we have here in Cornwall, which are really interesting in themselves because they're dotted all over Cornwall, and they're places that have a lot of energy, and they're really sacred sites. You can feel they're really precious when you're there. And I have visited some of these sites, but I'd like to visit more, particularly on Bodmin Moor, which is in the north of Cornwall. And she talked about them a lot. I'm trying to think of one particular area. I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's not coming back to me, hopefully it will, but it's an area on Bodmin Moor, and it has 3 areas of standing stones that are all in alignment. And I wish it would come back to me what it's called. But they've got significance that when they've, you know, dug there and looked at the structures of the standing stones, that they believe that our ancestors were putting stones down to mirror the Milky Way in the sky, which is pretty incredible, you know, that these are really heavy rocks made from granite, a lot of them, and, you know, they would have had no machinery or anything to drag these stones from quite a long distance and stand them up. I mean, it's pretty incredible, isn't it? I mean, they're nowhere in comparison to somewhere like Stonehenge, but it's still pretty impressive that, you know, our ancestors were able to do this, and that they were so closely linked to the night sky and you know, wanting to make a formation out of rocks in alignment with the Milky Way that was in the sky, and that it would follow, the formation of the stones would follow the formation of the Milky Way in the sky, in the way it arched and the way it rose, you know, as the sun set and the Milky Way rose into the sky. So I thought that was really incredible. And they also developed pools of water up there as well, where the Milky Way would be reflected within it. So I found that really, really fascinating. And she does do walks, and she talks more about the history of these precious sacred sites. So I'd like to go along to some of those at some point. She does them normally around solstice and other times. But yeah, she was really fascinating, and she's actually got some books that I'd like to see if the library have, or I could try and purchase them. I've got a lot here. And learn a bit more about our ancestors. And yeah, it was just really incredible. So that was the second event I've been to with Rick, but this one on Friday is a cacao ceremony, which I've also done at this place before, but with some other people at another event, and it was really incredible. So we had cacao, and then we had a guided sort of meditation, lying down with some spoken word, taking us on a journey through nature. It was really incredible. And in my vivid dream with cacao, I rode on the back of this amazing badger who showed me deep into the forest and sent me a message which was really needed at the time. And then afterwards we had like a silent sort of dance with headphones, with a playlist that the guy who organised the event had constructed, and we were dancing outside under a clear night sky with all the stars, because the stars at this site are incredible. As I said, it's near Falmouth. So that was my second experience with cacao ceremony. And then this one I'm going to on Friday is a cacao ceremony with, I think it's called Blue Lotus. I need to read up a bit more about it. But yeah, we're going to have the cacao in a ceremony, and then Rick's going to be taking us on a journey through his percussion of flutes. So I think it's going to be really, really magical, and I'm really looking forward to it and seeing what experience I get out of it, if there's any messages to take home and things to think about, or whether there's some healing to be done, because you can heal a lot through the use of cacao. And the cacao that I've taken in the past is really incredible. I think it's from Ecuador, a tribe there, and the way they nurture the cacao is pretty pretty incredible, really, in rhythm with nature. Let's just count where I am. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hang on. No, two more stitches. So yeah, and then Saturday I'm planning to go to Emma Louise Art Stitch again. Just think it would have been nice if I'd have painted my nails today, but never mind. At least they're tidy. They've not got mud under them from gardening. So yeah, Saturday I'm hoping to go to Emma Louise Art Stitch, her shop again, to the Stitch Club. 2, 3, 4, 5. One more. And yeah, they're a lovely group of ladies. We have a real laugh there, and people stitch on a variety of projects, so it's really nice to go, and I get the train there and the train back. So yeah, I really, really enjoy it. I think this will be the third time that I've been, and I like mooching around the charity shops. I found some real gems in the charity shops there. Sorry, I think I just banged you with my glasses again. So yeah, I think I'm going to be a bit tired at the end of next week. I might have to take it a bit easy on Sunday. Like I said, I don't normally pack so much into the week, but that's just the way it's worked out this week. I forgot to mention on Thursday I'm also taking my youngest daughter to a dance workshop at the local library. I don't really know a great deal about it. They just said, would you like to book to come? And I said, yeah, that would be great. Didn't really ask for much more, apart from that it's a dance workshop aimed at 0 to 5-year-olds, so I'm sure that'll be good fun. Our library's really good. They always have quite a lot of events on for the young ones, and for the older ones actually. They had a really nice artist residency in there for the whole week. I think it was last week or the week before. Vicky Amers, she's an amazing textile artist. She makes a lot of art based around, I just realised some of my threads are stuck. I'm going to have to sort that out later. It's just the problem with parking your threads sometimes. Yeah, she looks at a lot of women's history, like she's been making a lot of these textile art pockets, which she embroiders and puts buttons on and all kinds of things. And I'll try and remember to link her Instagram in the down bar, because her art is really, really lovely. So these pockets, women used to wear them under their dresses, and they used to hold all their sewing supplies and things, you know, underneath their big elaborate dresses that they used to wear. And then they always had their things handy in their little pocket apron underneath their dress. So I found that really interesting. But she's done all kinds of textile bits in the past, and at her residency she had some really nice cross-stitch samplers and things that she'd found in charity shops, and just other cross-stitch pieces that she'd rescued. So that was really lovely to look at, and she was giving away free kits, but I didn't pick one up because I've still got one of her kits to do. And I'll see if I can find it in a minute and I can show you. I've had it for ages. When she had an open studio a few years ago, and I bought it, and I just haven't started it yet, but I want to. It's called Miss Herschel's Kitchen Sampler, and that's Vicky Amers' details there. So yeah, you get this lovely printed calico cotton and these buttons, and she just encourages you to do some stitches into it just however you like, with embroidery floss. And yeah, you can frame it or make it into a needlebook cover, and there's lovely buttons in there. So yeah, it says here, a hand-printed lino design for you to embroider and patch. It could be framed once finished or incorporated into a larger piece. And there's some more of her details there. Yeah, she's a really fascinating lady. I mean, I only paid £4 for this little kit, so yeah, I'm looking forward to stitching that at some point. I'd love to hear what you've been up to and what you're stitching on and what your plans are. Yeah, and what your plans are for this week. That would be really nice if you want to drop me a comment. And I am hoping to be back, well, I was hoping to do it next weekend, but just talking about how busy my week is this week, I don't think that's going to happen. Possibly the week after, so the first week, the second weekend of July maybe, to take all my big whip basket out to the woods and do a mid-year whip parade. Well, it's a bit late because it'll be July, but that doesn't matter. And I can show you all the whips that I've got in progress, because I think it would be really nice to do that. So yeah, I'm going to sort out this thread that's got trapped while I've been stitching, and I've got some floss drops to cut out today, and I've also got a floss card commission which I need to get sorted. So yeah, that'll be the rest of my day. Anyway, hope you're enjoying yourselves. Take care everyone, I'll speak to you soon. Bye!